what are you all doing during this quarantine? What are you doing? I find that I've been doing a lot of meditating, honestly, which has been good. And I've actually been painting a little bit. Mary's had me painting, my girlfriend. I just say her name, like people know. I don't think I've ever said her name on here. But yeah, so I've been painting with her, and that's been really fun. Every time I paint, in the middle of it, I'm like, fuck, how do I fix this? But then at the end, over time, I paint over things, I blend things, and somehow I make it look like it looks good. I don't know. It looks relatively good. I mean, I don't think I'm an amazing painter or anything, but surprisingly, I can figure my way out, which has been really fun. It's been a really rewarding process, really cathartic. I've also been playing a ton of Animal Crossing. Yo, shout out to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Goddamn, this is the best Animal Crossing of all time. Easily. Like, hands down, it's not even close. The things that you can do in it are awesome. I have not fully paid off my houses, my house or, anything major yet. But I have been able to do a bunch of stuff. I've been building bridges all around my island. And it's been so fun. I mean, it really, like, the creativity in it, spoiler alert for some people, but when you get through, I don't know if it's like when you pay off your house or something, eventually you get these like permits so that you can make like terrain changes. You can build out rivers and ponds. You can create elevation. You can change the terrain from grass to dirt to whatever. And it's really cool. I think it's one of the neater features of the new game. And I really enjoy the fact that it's going to allow people to completely recreate the island. So you're given one of like 4 layouts that you can pick at the very beginning of the game. But by the end of it, once you have that permit, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It takes time, and you might have to move some buildings and stuff, and that costs money. But it's really cool that you can do that. And I'm very excited to see what people, the internet's amazing, and the people's creativity is infinite. So I really look forward to seeing what people's islands look like in like a few months, where a lot of people have then beaten the game. There's no really beating it. You can kind of play that game forever. But once you paid off those things and you've been given those tools, what people can come up with, I think it'll be really exciting to see. And it's a really fun, chill game. It's like the perfect game to play during the quarantine, honestly. I've also been playing some Halo, sometimes with Mary. We like to play co-op together on the campaigns. We're still currently in Halo 2 at the moment. She's never played any of them. So it's been really fun having her go through and play it. And playing on the Master Chief Collection is a lot of fun, because Halo 2 specifically is remastered. God damn, it looks pretty fucking good. So that's been a lot of fun. Been doing that. I have not been reading as much as I would like to. I feel like this is also a good opportunity to really read some good books. But I've always just been spending it watching stuff more than reading, and or playing the video games. Playing the video games as if I'm like a fucking old man. I remember back with the video games, and I was playing them, and they were a lot of fun. Back when they were side scrollers. I'm fucking stupid. I don't know why you listen to this podcast. So I've been doing that, but I've actually been writing again, which has been awesome. I for a long time I just wasn't writing in it, and it just was really, I just didn't put it as a priority. I had a lot of other things to do, that were still productive things to do. It wasn't even necessarily like I was just like fucking around or not doing things, but I now that I have more time, I've been spending some time on it. So I've been writing a little bit, and working on a new show with one of my friends from college, and we've already written scripts together. So we kind of already have somewhat of a flow that we've figured out, and it's been a lot of fun. I've really just learned to enjoy the creative process and just enjoy making things. Matt was talking about that actually the other day. And he was saying the best thing is the high after. the high that you get after you've like created something, like once you're done, it's fun in the moment too when you're creating some stuff. And then afterwards you feel so accomplished. You're like, yeah, that was good. Like I used my imagination. I came up with some cool things. I made some plot ideas or some characters, and you tap into a part of your brain that I think is just it's a good part to tap into, especially frequently. And I've been enjoying that. I've been enjoying retapping into that. And so now I got a lot more time. I'm only working 2 days a week. So I have a lot of time to really focus on these other creative things that maybe I didn't have as much time to do. I have enough time to do this podcast now. I really do. I've had enough time, even when I was working my normal hours. I have enough time to do this podcast, but I didn't always have enough time to do that many more things on top of it. And I've historically done too many things at once. I've historically, like, I'm doing the podcast. I want to shoot videos. Like the docuseries, I still want to do it. That hasn't gone away from me. Obviously it's a little bit harder with quarantine, but I want to do that. I've always wanted to learn music and make music. And so I've had phases of making music. And just all these different things. I like drawing. I like messing around the iPad with Procreate. I like painting. I like doing all these, creative artistic endeavors, but I can't genuinely spend the proper amount of time on all of those tasks if I'm doing all of them. But if I choose to do a few of them and really focus on those things, I can really get somewhere with that. And so I think this is where this gives me an opportunity to maybe add another task into that juggling that I'm doing, while also still trying to have a life too. I'm trying to have a personal life, trying to maintain a relationship. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not overworking myself, because I've also historically burnt myself out in the past a lot. And it's been really cool to see that I've learned actually from a lot of these lessons. I genuinely have learned lessons from this shit, and I don't burn myself out as much. I don't overload myself with as many tasks. My inclination is still like, oh, but I want to do this and I want to do this. It's still there. It's in my personality, but I'm forcing myself to stay disciplined and focus on the things that I realistically can do and that is worth putting my time and effort into now, knowing that eventually I might be able to get to some of those other things. You only have so many hours in the day. I can only spend so much time doing stuff. So it's important for me to make sure that when I'm doing that, I'm doing it to some degree of balance. And I encourage anybody who has this extra time and is not completely in an existential crisis. And I know that unfortunately there's just too many Americans that are in that situation. So I do not blame you if you don't have the ability to pick up new skills, or even if just the anxiety of the pandemic is freaking you out. Several nights this past week, not prompted at all, I've had like just a lot of anxiety going to sleep, where it's just, I feel it in my chest and it's not coming. Like, I'm not even thinking about the pandemic. I'm not thinking about anything. All of a sudden it's just like I just have to like take a deep breath, and it's not like a full-on panic attack or anything. And all things considered, I'm actually in a pretty good position. Not a perfect one. The longer this pandemic goes on, the greater the uncertainty becomes for even my company, as well as we're trying to handle this, and as well as we're able to handle it given the circumstances. If this goes on too long, it's enough to kill any business, no matter how well prepared they are. So, all things considered, I actually am in a pretty good situation. I'm very grateful for it. And I'm still getting paid, which is awesome. And I genuinely feel like the company cares about all of us as workers. I feel like my bosses care about us and our well-being. It's really nice to be a part of a company that genuinely cares about its people, and it shows you that companies can do it, but it has to come from leadership. And luckily, the leadership of my company actually cares about the human being element of people. We're not just productive workers. What a crazy concept. And so it's given me a lot of security in a time of great insecurity for the country. And so I shouldn't feel as anxious as I felt in those moments, and yet it still happens to me. So I fully understand that this is a mental health thing, and you need to take care of yourself and don't feel like you need to do anything. But if you do want to do something, or if you've always wanted to pick something up, especially something that's a passion of yours, now's the time to do it. And don't feel obligated to do it all the time, but you got more time than you normally do, and better you do that, especially if it's something you actually like, than to just spend it watching Tiger King, which, by the way, I have not watched it, so I can't comment on it. I just know the memes, you know. But yeah, so I think it's really important for people to just like take your time, take care of yourself mentally, try to stay as positive as you can, do whatever you can to survive. Like I don't even know what to tell people, because it's like, don't go to work. You're not supposed to. Don't go to work. But also, how are you supposed to eat if you don't have money? You know, and the fact that we're not going to just help people in the circumstance, it's still just mind blowing to me that such a failure of our government, and it really comes from just not having an opposition party.